change the brakes on a Corvette C5. It's going to be the same process on a C6 as well. Before you get started, these are the tools that you're going to need. So you're going to need a breaker bar to loosen the wheel nuts, a torque wrench. I've got a 1/2 inch here to torque up the wheel nuts, and a 3/8 inch to torque up the brake caliper bolts. The socket, which is going to be a 15mm to undo the brake caliper, and a 16mm spanner to stop the slide pin from spinning round. A screwdriver will probably come in handy, a wire brush and a nylon brush to clean things off, some copper grease to lubricate the new brake pads, a 19mm socket to loosen the wheel nut, a brake caliper rewind tool to push the brake caliper piston back, or you could use like a big set of pliers, and your replacement brake pads. So make sure the car's up in the air and then we'll get started. So we're going to loosen up these wheel nuts. It's a 19mm, but these are caps, so you still use the same socket and then just loosen it off by hand. And you do the same with all of them. And then these caps come off and you've got the actual wheel nut behind it. Now if you didn't already loosen the wheel while it was on the ground, just make sure the handbrake's on, and then we're going to loosen these off. Once they're broken loose, just loosen them all off by hand. So we're going to change the brake pad. It's a 15mm bolt on the back, and then we're going to start to loosen it, and then if this starts to spin, we're going to hold it with a 16mm spanner. That's it. And then before we loosen it all the way, we're going to break free the bottom one. And it's the exact same process. So put your socket onto this nut here, and then break it free. And then if this starts to spin, put that like that, and it will hold it in place so it doesn't spin. So we're just going to loosen it the whole way, and that's one bolt out. Then we'll do the same with the top one. We'll just hold that in place. And we'll take that out as well. And we'll pull the caliper back, and it should release, just like that. We'll pop that to the side, we'll rest it up here, try and make sure that there's not too much tension on the brake line here, so that's why we're going to rest it there. Then we're going to take the rear pads out, just pull them out like that, same with the other one, and that's your pads removed. They were quite low. So we're going to clean up around the surfaces here and make sure the shims are clean as well. So gently with a screwdriver we're going to remove these shims. Just like that. That's one shim out. Same with the top one. That's it. We're going to give those a clean in a second. You can use some brake cleaner as well to clean these off. Make sure that the slide pins move freely. If they don't, you can lubricate those up. These ones slide nicely, and you can see by the brake wear that they were wearing out evenly, so they're alright, and I'm not going to lube them up. So if you've got new accessories like these shims, you can just replace them. If not, give them a clean up with a wire brush and some brake cleaner. So once you've cleaned up the shims, we just want to put them back into place. So just put them in like that and then just pop them down. That's it. And do the same with the top one. That's in place. Next we're going to get the caliper. That just pushes out, so push your fingers through that gap and then push it out. So now we're going to push the piston back on the caliper. So get your rewind tool and then put it into the caliper, just like that. Then start tightening that to bring some tension. Once you've done that, then you can start spinning this and it should push the piston back. It shouldn't be too difficult to push unless your caliper is slightly seized. Just go nice and gentle. It's a good idea to remove the brake fluid reservoir cap. And once you feel resistance, that means it's reached the back, so just loosen it back off and then you can take that out. Next, we're just going to give this a bit of a clean up. So because this is a painted caliper, just going to use a nylon brush to brush some of the brake dust away so it won't damage the paint. So once you've cleaned the caliper to what you're happy with, let's just get that last shim and we'll give that a little clean up as well. That's it, and once you've cleaned that up, then we can put that back into place. So push that in like that, and you have to line up these two tabs with the two bits there in the caliper, and then once they're lined up, press the top and the bottom and it will go into place. That's it, that's in place now. So we'll just put the caliper there for a second, and now we're going to get our brake pads. So these are our new brake pads. The little tab that sticks out is going to be the one on the inside brake pad. So the one with the tab is going to go on the inside, and the one without the tab is going to go on the outside. But before we do that, these specific brake pads have little shims. These are EBC red stuff brake pads. So peel off the little coating and they stick onto the pad. That's it. And the same with the other one. Peel that off. Just line that up. Just stick it down. Okay, so we're going to get some copper grease. Just put a little bit on your finger. And we're just going to put it on this little tab where it's going to make contact with the caliper carrier. Don't need a lot, just a small amount. And the same on the other side. Make sure it doesn't go on the actual brake pad surface, just on these little bits. That's it. And then make sure it's the right way around. And then just line it up. So line it up with these tabs. So put it in at a slight angle and then rotate it. And that's usually the easiest way to get it in. Put a tiny little bit of grease here and here as well, which is where the caliper is going to go over it. And then we'll do the same with the back one too. Get a tiny little bit of copper grease. And just go over these little tabs. Once you've done that, put that one in the back. That's in as well. I'm going to put a little bit of grease around the more centre part of it, which is where the piston's going to touch from the back. Now you're ready to get your caliper. And we're going to line that up and then put it over. Make sure you press these little pins in so that way the caliper can slide over. Same with the bottom one. That's it. And then you're going to have a bit of tension where you need to push it towards the disc because of this little shim, but that's normal. So get your bolt, line it up with the top one, and then just start doing it up by hand. Once you've got that in a few threads, get the bottom one and then try and line it up. You're going to probably have to push the caliper in slightly. That's it. And then start doing it up. Don't do it up too tight because we're going to fully tighten it up with the torque wrench. That's it. And do the same with the top one. The caliper bolts get torqued to between 40 and 45 Newton meters, and in foot pounds that's between 30 and 33 foot pounds. That's it, and then we'll do the bottom one. That's it. And now we're ready to put the wheel back on. So get your wheel and put it back on. Then get your walnuts. And start doing them up by hand. So we're just going to tighten them up a little bit, and then we're going to torque them up with the torque wrench. So the wheel nuts get torqued down to 140 Newton meters, which is 100 foot-pounds of torque. That's it, and now we're going to put the caps back on. So we're just going to start to screw these caps back on. And these just get tightened up with the socket. They don't actually need to be properly tight. Just like that, that's good enough. That's it, and now we just need to lower the car back to the ground and then pump the brake pedal a few times, and then you're done.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want more.